Today, the moon continues in fiery Sagittarius, where we get a little bit more philosophical, thinking about the big picture and what is the guiding light in our lives? How are you telling the story of your life, and how do you want this story to unfold? I was going to say end, but right, we don't want the story to end. We want it to continue to unfold. So, how does your story go? And so we're working with this energy of the Sagittarius moon. We are also working with some energies of Mercury in Aries, Neptune in Aries, Venus going to go into Aries, and Mars soon going to oppose Pluto. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Thursday, April 17th. And so we are thinking about our story today. What is the story you want to tell? What do you want that to look like? And what is the guiding light of your life? What brings meaning to your life? What do you care about? What is the bigger picture of the principles that bring meaning and significance, right? How do you want to live your life according to that light? And what is that light for you? So, telling the story, but also we have the moon opposing Jupiter. So, the Sagittarius moon opposing Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Jupiter in Gemini is about storytelling, narrative, messaging, and what that is in the big picture. Mercury in Aries now is also saying, find the story, find the messaging. Something new is emerging in terms of how we define things, how we identify ourselves, the things we care about, the things we are working toward and striving for. There is something new emerging with Neptune now in Aries, and Mercury is helping us to find the words to tell the story, to define the things that are coming into being and just taking their very first baby steps, those awkward first steps that we take when we're brand new at something. And we have to take those risks because that's the only way we can really figure it out, allow it to find its way, to develop and mature over time. And so that image of the flower, right? The flower is the dream of the seed. The seed under the ground is dreaming the future of the flower. And so, what is the future you are dreaming? The future you are here to create, the future you are heading toward. And how does that future, how do you tell that story? How do you make that into your guiding light and organize yourself around that story? So we're finding the messaging with the energy of Mercury in Aries. We are also, so Mercury rules Gemini. There's everything is kind of supportive here of this bigger picture process and what we do with it, right? Aries action. How are we going to take action? So we've also got, we're moving toward a opposition of Mars to Pluto. And as I've mentioned, this will be the third of three exact oppositions between Mars and Pluto because Mars went retrograde. And when Mars goes retrograde, it's kind of its energy slows down and it recovers territory where it's already been. Most planets that go retrograde have that moment of recovering territory where they've already been. But for Mars, it's usually a pretty fast moving planet. And when it goes retrograde, we have the experience of it staying in one place or a couple of signs, depending, for a much longer time than usual. So this will be the third of three exact oppositions of Mars to Pluto, bringing in this energy of the Mars energy of courage action and the warrior. I'm going to put this in really positive terms, and we need to see it in really positive terms, right? The ability to find this bigger picture, guiding light, and find our courage and take risks and take actions that are in alignment with this story of what we are becoming, this dream of the future, the dream of the seed, the dream that the seed has for the flower, right? The future flower. So that's how we need to, you know, right, when the seed is unfolding and emerging above the soil, it has a long way to go before it actually gets to be the flower and release the fruit and the seeds and all that stuff. So how do we move forward? How do we take action, take risks, and find courage to move toward that, right? To eventually get somewhere that we can only dream about right now. So that's what we want to think about. And then Mars being the energy of action, courage, and risk taking, opposing the power of Pluto. And remember, power is something that it's about how power is wielded, right? Having power over someone and using it to bully or intimidate. But power is also about empowerment and finding our own power, the power to be authentic, the courage to be ourselves. So, Mars, courage in Leo, self expression, the courage to express yourself and the empowerment to be who you are authentically, to be in community, to honor differences and diversity, to value the power of the individual and who we are, creating a better world, because Aquarius loves to think about what a better world will look like. So our power, our empowerment is in our ability to create that better world. And we also in the process are confronting some of these other powers. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on, but work with today's Sagittarius moon. Think about your story, think about your dream of the future and where you're heading and how that can guide your action steps in the coming weeks and months. All right, thanks for being here. I'm Marina Orms, and you can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. I encourage you to check out my new member site. I'm working on putting more in there. There's going to be a little bit more. There's already a great article about planetary cycles and wholeness, fun stuff that I love to share. So check it out. The link is in the description for this video. So you have to click more and then the text expands and you'll see the link there under this video. All right, thanks for being here and subscribing. I will see you next time with more astrology for unshakable self-care. Bye for now.